Today I'm going to be teaching about trigonometry. So trigonometry is basically when you use angles of a triangle to work out the length of sides, or vice versa. So first I'm going to start off with a mnemonic that's quite useful. So we've got so, ka, to. So first part, so what I was going to say is that these different mnemonics represent functions. So this one means sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. This one here means cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. That's why there's the A and the H. Then this one here, the T stands for tan, or tangent of theta, equals opposite over adjacent. So you may be wondering, what does this opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent, and, what do those things mean? So let's say you have, what I was talking about before, the right angled triangle. We have a right angled triangle with a side of 4 for this side. Now the longest length, this is the longest length of the triangle, and it's opposite to the right angle. So this one is called the hypotenuse. Let's just write H for that. Actually no, let's write the whole name, because I'm trying to teach what this is called. Hypotenuse. It's quite a hard word to spell. Okay, so we also have these two other sides. Now, depending on what angle you're trying to find, that determines what these two sides are going to be called. So if we were trying to find this angle here, this angle would be theta, then we would call this side the adjacent, because it is adjacent to theta. Now this side over here would be called the opposite, because it's opposite theta. So now that you know what opposite, hypotenuse and adjacent are, let's try and show an example of SOHCAHTOA. So firstly, if you wanted to work out this angle here, theta, you would need two of the sides at least to work out what this is, and it would have to be a right angled triangle as well. So you could have the hypotenuse and opposite. So let's say the opposite was it can't be longer than the hypotenuse, so let's put it as 2. So then that means that because we have the opposite and the hypotenuse, so we have O and H, then we can use the SO mnemonic because of the O and H over here. So let's start off like this. So sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Then sine theta equals, so then we substitute in these two measurements. Let's say these are in centimeters, because you'd usually have a unit when you're trying to do that. So sine theta equals, so the opposite is 2, so that would be 2 over 4. 2 over 4. So that means that if we simplify the fraction, that becomes 1 over 2. Now, we've got this sign here, so we need to get rid of it. So if you know about functions, when you have a function, let's say you have f of x, then to get rid of the f and to have it just x, you would find the inverse function. So f minus 1 of fx and that just cancels out to become x. So that means that over here we need to use the inverse function of sine. So that would be, so then that means that, sorry about this, theta equals the inverse sine of 1 over 2. And now let's work this out on a calculator. So I know this isn't a very good calculator, but what you would type in is, so you have the sine button, cosine and tan button, then you find the inverse sine button. So I'm just going to press shift sine of 1 over 2. Okay, now that is equal to 45. So that means, so theta equals 45 degrees. So this angle here is 45 degrees.